Okay, so we're going to be dealing with the transcript chunker in this video. You can go ahead and look in your list of files and find the transcript chunker. Go ahead and double click that. Make sure that you're in that script. Click run. And then once it pops up, you can minimize PyCharm and maximize the transcript chunker editor. Once you're in here, before you load a document, you can go over to the char target, and this is where you're going to set the character target for your chunks. And I'll show you more about this once we load the document, but this is going to give you an estimated amount of characters per chunk in your document that will let you see around what range you're at. There's an option to load a DOCX and load a folder of text. You're most likely going to be loading a folder of text because this is going to happen for a lot of people post transcription. So you're going to be loading a folder of transcriptions. So we'll go ahead and load a folder of transcriptions. And I got a folder of transcriptions right here. So when you load the folder of transcriptions, it's going to bring it up and automatically you'll see the chunk points. And these are the estimated chunk points where if you exported the chunks right now, this is where the text would break up at. One of the reasons that a chunk editor is needed is because when you do API calls, AI API calls, you can only call a certain amount of text per call. If you go over that amount, it will automatically cut off your attempted translation. And you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that every call that you send, the entirety of the text will be translated. Also, with the chunk editor, this is going to allow you to edit your transcriptions so that when you send it for translation, the transcriptions will be a lot cleaner. So when we go in here, we see, okay, we have the heading fragments, or we have the heading things that continue throughout the book that we're not going to need in our transcription, our translation. So you can go ahead and go in here and delete those. And you'll also see that when you transcribe page by page, which is going to be the most likely the normal method that people are going to transcribe these by, that the beginning and ending of each page many times are going to create fragmented sentences, and that doesn't carry over well into translation. You'll 9 times out of 10 get a faulty translation at the beginning and ending of each page. This is why the editing and chunking of the transcription is needed before the translation, so that you can have complete sentences in your translation. So you would just edit it, and then you would edit this P3 right here, which is most likely fragmented data from the facsimile. So now that makes a clean text. And then you go down here and look at the chunk right here. Well, you're in the general area of the 4500. If you carry over to the end of this sentence, that's not going to matter much when you go to translate. So you would be able to take that chunk marker out and insert a chunk point. So now that translation will end, that translation call for the API will end on a complete sentence. And then you can just go down and continue to do this with the entirety of the text. And that's what those chunk markers are for. Now you can also remove those chunk markers. So if you clear the markers, It will give you a warning that it's going to clear the markers. You can manually enter the chunks yourself if you wanted to. So you can go down the paragraph, right click, and it's going to let you know the char position where you click at. So if I click here, it's going to let me know, okay, that's 3,500. I'm at 3,500 characters right there. Or if I click at the end right here, it's going to let me know I'm at 3,600. Or at the end here, I'm at 4,200. Or at the end here, I'm at 4,400. So if I was trying to stay within a 4,500 range, this would be a good place for me to insert a chunk point. And then you can go down and say we're right here. Let's see where we're at. That's 4,300. And it restarts the char position for every chunk. So when you're in here, you can see chunk position 1700. It lets you know what number of chunk it is. Chunk 3. Char position in doc. And the reason it says 1200 right here out of 4,500 characters is because this is counting this entire segment right here as your third chunk. So you'll notice that when you add an actual third chunk, say we'll go down to 4,500, that's 4,100, say we're right here, and we add a chunk, insert chunk point. Now that changes, it's down to 8342. And you can go down and manually add your chunks. So you can edit. You can see right there where the OB ends. You can edit, and then you can add your chunks. You can take out this text. You can take out this title. And you can go down and edit the text. You will also notice that within the text there are a lot of asterisks. This happens in the transcription process with the API in an attempt to preserve the italics and bold that were in the original facsimile. This many times will carry over to your translation so that when you produce a document at the end, it will automatically italicize and bold those places where the asterisks are. But if you don't want the asterisks in your text, post-transcription, you can go ahead and just strip the asterisks, and it's going to take out all those asterisks. You also have find and replace. So say we wanted to replace this HG right here and just take it out of the document. It works just like a Word find and replace would. You can replace all. And then say you take this out too. You can also undo those actions. And when you undo it, it's going to let you know what you undid right there. And now all those are reinstated. You can also in the text reapply those char targets. So say I wanted now to do it to 3,000 chars per paragraph. I'll go ahead and reapply the auto, and it's going to let you know it's going to replace all existing markers with auto-calculated ones, and we'll go ahead and push yes. And now you have the 3,000 chunks, or the 3,000 characters per chunk within the text now. If you want to export these chunks, first let me talk about saving the document. Say you have a long document, because many of these works are going to be hundreds of pages or even over 1,000 pages, and you just don't have time to finish your editing. You can always save the document, name it what you want. So say we'll say voet test edit save, and then say you had to leave the program, and then you come back to the program or to the app. You can open your project. You see your project right there. Open it, and now you're ready to go, ready to continue. The only thing that may happen is you're going to have to find your place where you are, where you left off, and that may be the only downside to doing this. You can also increase the font size, minimize the font size for those with eyes that may be better or worse. And then when you go to export the chunks, you simply just click Export Chunks. Choose a folder that you want to export it in. So we'll say voet export chunks. Select folder. And it lets you know that it exported those chunks. And when we go into the folder, you'll see all the chunks there exported in the same way that they were chunked in the editor.